everybody, welcome back to 7 Billion Geniuses. And this morning I'm going to talk about curiosity again. And the reason why I'm going to talk about it again is because I got a little reminder from my students this week, and it's something that I want to share with you. I'm fortunate enough to be able to teach a course in narrative therapy at Lesley University every spring. And this past Wednesday when I was teaching the class, my students got me thinking about something that I wanted to share here. And it's about the curiosity that I've been talking about, this genuine curiosity. But I realized that behind the genuine curiosity is a very specific agenda that's based on a belief system that I hold and that I want to share with you, because I think it's important as I explain the 7 Billion Geniuses process that I be open and direct about all the underlying thoughts that I have that have got me moving in this direction of this process and why this process is so important to me. So the underlying agenda behind the genuine curiosity that I promote in the book is based on a fundamental belief that I have that people are amazing, that everyone is amazing, and that the way that we've been indoctrinated into talking about ourselves masks that, but that it's there, and it's masked in a way that's fairly easy to get past if you take up a way of listening and asking questions that I talk about in the book. A way of listening and asking questions that's based on this idea of double listening and the absent but implicit that I've talked about in other videos. So that's been described. I've already talked about that. But what I want to talk about today really is this idea of this fundamental belief that people are amazing, and maybe that's too thin a description. What I mean by that is that we are all extraordinarily importantly unique, and that what we stand for is emblematic, and well, see, emblematic is another kind of narrative jargon word. There's so much in everything that we say and do. There's so much that's so vitally important about each of us and who we are and what we stand for and what we carry just by being alive, what we offer to this world. Each one of you, what you offer to this world simply by being alive and carrying the hopes and dreams and desires that you have, the perceptions that you have, how you see the world, how you individually, specifically see the world. That perspective is an extraordinarily important contribution that you make to this world by being alive. So maybe that's the thing. Your perspective needs to be communicated. Your perspective needs to be brought forward. And if we're stuck by these ways of speaking and ways of thinking and the indoctrination of what we can talk about and what's right and what's wrong in the context of how we can be and how we can't be, how we can manifest ourselves and how we can't manifest ourselves, that limits my ability to understand your perspective on the world, how you see things, how you experience things. Your view is sacred. Your view of the world is a sacred thing that's oftentimes covered over by ideas about how you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to talk, how you're supposed to think, how you're supposed to act. So the questioning that I talk about, the curiosity that I talk about, is an opportunity for each of us, with ourselves or with anybody else, to wash that away, to move past those assumptions and those limitations, to understand each of our sacred perspectives, so that we can bring it forth and make that contribution to the whole that's so vital. We are a people who have been taught that there are certain folks in the world who are amazing and wonderful and certain ones who aren't, that we are led by individuals that we're not free, and those are ideas that we can challenge. Those are ideas that we can take up or not. But in order to understand that, we have to realize that they're just ideas and they're just suggestions, and there may be suggestions that we don't agree with. And so if you are given the opportunity to consider the possibility that you don't agree with those suggestions, then you have the opportunity to think about the suggestions that you're more interested in agreeing or with, or taking up, or making guiding principles in your life. The other thing that I should say about this, I realize that I just said right and wrong, that we've indoctrinated into certain types of right and wrong. And I'm extraordinarily comfortable, given the thousands of conversations that I've had with people and the experiences that I've had in my life, knowing that there is not some kind of challenge that comes up if we don't have specific guidelines as to what is right and wrong. My experience of human beings is that we're really good at taking care of each other when there's no edict that we have to. That we're really good at caring for one another and the land and many, many things when we're not being asked to. We do it anyway. It's kind of how we roll. As a species that's been community-based for millions of years, between 1 and 4 million, depending on who you talk to, we're good at taking care of each other. We're most likely to do the right thing. And even I'll go so far as to say, the vast majority of the times, even when we do what's understood to be the wrong thing, the reasons why we do it go back to the right thing. Not to justify those actions, not to justify that violent behavior and destructive behavior, but to say once again that even in those instances, we still roll back to these reasons that unify us and make us a species that supports one another more often than not. So it's through those biases that I'm perfectly comfortable in saying that encountering each other's unique and individual perspectives is not only safe and will not lead to some kind of apocalyptic Armageddon and anarchy. What it will lead to is us being able to create a sustainable community that will allow our species to survive. But more important than that, well, I don't know if there's anything more important than that, but just the joy that's available in living that way, when you're more closely connected to what you stand for, what matters to you, and where people around you are interested in your perspective, genuinely interested in understanding your perspective. So these questions create the possibility to break past the standard assumptions about who we are and who we're supposed to be, and allow for us to start to glean the incredible diversity of perspectives and understandings that are a manifestation of what each of us simply carry as 7 billion people on the planet, 7 billion sacred perspectives, that it's vital for us to understand, that it's vital to have them made manifest. And these questions and this process, this book is intended to help us as a culture start to, and it's not the only way too, but it's my humble contribution to trying to start this process of making these 7 billion sacred perspectives known. So just thought I'd share that with you. Thanks to my class for helping me get to this. Please subscribe to these videos. It's very helpful for me. And thank you for watching, taking the time to watch. And please do stay in touch, and I'll talk to you next week.